What is the best investment that you ever made?
Buying Apple stock at $25 a share.
What's the most amount of money you made in one day?
Over 100 grand.
Over 100 grand in one day?
Yeah.
What would be the most expensive thing that you currently own?
Probably my home, worth almost $2 million.
What's the most expensive thing that you currently own?
Probably Tesla stocks. It's more than 7 figure.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be asking supercar owners what they do for a living. I've always wondered what these types of people do, how much they make, so we'll be asking them today. Yeah, let's go. Hi, so what is your name, age, and what do you currently do?
My name is Jason. I'm currently 45 and I'm semi-retired right now.
How did you get into your career and what you did in the past?
Because of my passion for cars. My first car was the Honda Civic Si 95. So I really wanted the NSX. So that really motivated me to start my first online business. That was like 1998. Back then I was one of the first sellers on eBay. So that kind of helped me put me on the map.
What car do you currently drive?
I drive the FH Tributo Model X Plaid 2022 NSX Type S.
Do you mind if I ask how much you make per year?
Really depends because I do a lot of investments. It varies depending on the macro condition, probably more than 6 figures.
Do you have any advice for anyone that wants to get into what you do?
When someone starts, regardless of what they're doing, they need to not be selfish. Whether it's working for a corporate or any kind of job, even if it's an entry-level job, you need to contribute, you need to create value versus don't think about me first. Because I worked at corporate before, the employees that excel are not the ones that think about me first, and those never make it. And the ones that actually fought hard, they make it. They eventually will become entrepreneur themselves.
What is one worst money mistake that you made in your career?
Don't be overconfident. Reduce the risk. For example, if someone's starting a business, it's best to have a couple partners because it'll help you reduce the risk. And also, if you get more human resource, it just helps a lot at the beginning versus just fighting by yourself or fighting with a group of people.
What would be the best investment you ever made in your life?
Invest in Tesla. That is one of my all-time best investment ever. I started investing in Tesla in 2017. Back then, people thought it has a bankruptcy risk, and everyone was telling me don't invest in it. I believe in it, and it really turned out really well. I mean, basically, I got a Aventador SV because of that in around 2018 because of Tesla. It is the future. Being a Tesla car owner, I know they are far ahead. For example, I also have the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. It's electric, it's fast. However, it's probably 5 years behind in terms of the user interface and usability.
What's the most expensive thing that you currently own?
Probably Tesla stocks.
Do you mind sharing a certain range?
It's more than 7 figure. Pretty deeply invested, and also I trade a lot. But I do firmly believe in Tesla. Even with the current market macro condition, long-term wise, it's gonna do well.
What's the most amount of money you made in one day?
Over 100 grand.
Over 100 grand in one day?
Yeah.
What do you think is one daily habit that everyone should do?
Exercise daily. Do a non-impact aerobic. Maybe ride a stationary bike for 30 minutes. Just do a light exercise at least once a day. It helps you get into a healthy lifestyle. I've been doing this since I was 16. I never take a day off.
What is something you would tell your younger self?
Control risk. Be humble. And don't be too cocky. If I feel cocky, be careful. That's when I'm gonna get hurt.
Do you have any tips for people who want to save more money?
Invest in yourself. You don't necessarily have to go to a great school. You can learn anything on YouTube. YouTube is a great resource. If you have a will, I mean, there's a way. Don't give up. Like, make small goals. Like, people want to aim for the moon. Instead of aiming for the moon, that's great. That's a long-term goal. But make short-term goals, like weekly goal, monthly goal, and then you'll see progress. It helps keeps you going.
What is something that you wish you started doing earlier?
I wish I started harder. When I was younger, I didn't like school. I didn't go back to school until I was age 28. I went back to the UC Irvine. But it's pretty hard. Like, younger people, it's kind of hard to click. For example, I'm a parent. I didn't really excel until I had my first daughter. Then I have to survive. For example, there were nights that I had cold feet. I mean, in my life, I've been through a lot of ups and downs. There are catastrophic events. I mean, I almost went broke, and yet I have a newborn. I get cold feet at night. Like it's not about me. If I'm just myself, it's not that big of a deal. But when someone's relying on you, the kind of fear is unexplainable. And those nights with cold feet helped me a lot. So I mean, I have to do whatever it takes to survive. Start over or work from the ground up. Yeah, and that's what I did.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Problem. My pleasure.
What is your name, your age, and what do you currently do?
My name is Joe Valencic. I'm a professor of marine science and technology, and I try to help make the environment a better place for marine life.
How did you get into what you do?
I started out designing equipment to help understand the underwater world. So I was heavily involved with the critter cams that you see in National Geographic and Discovery. My latest development is called a crab cam. So we actually put cameras on Dungeness crabs to find out how they interact, how they get into traps, and how ecologically we can better understand and protect them. I've always been interested in technology, which is why I enjoyed this C8 Corvette that I bought.
That was my next question. What kind of car do you currently drive?
Well, this is a C8 Corvette. I've had it for about, close to a year right now. Before that, I had a Ferrari Testarossa, and I had a GTM, which is by a company then on the East Coast called Factory 5.
So what made you decide to buy this car?
Because it's a rear engine car. The balance is perfect on this, and I was able to put in vertical doors, and that made all the difference in the world. It's easy to get into, and it's quite stylish looking.
Do you like your car right now?
Absolutely. Wouldn't trade it for anything. This is the best car I've ever owned.
Do you mind if we ask how much you make per year?
My salary per year is a couple of times more than this Corvette.
So would you have any advice for someone who wants to get to where you are career-wise?
Yes, I do. It's hard for young people to get through college, but if you start into the math, science, IT, any of the common areas, and pursue your goal, I think you do quite fine. There's a big demand for them. Be conscientious and try to tie into your job something that you really enjoy. I got into the marine science end because I like to swim, I like the ocean, I like marine life, and I was really passionate about it. So follow your passion and connect it into something that will bring you some money.
What is the best investment that you ever made?
Buying Apple stock at $25 a share. I was an evangelicist for Apple, so I used some of the first Apple computers in school. I figured out a way then to actually do a very, very early stage of what we now known as a Zoom call. And it was used in many schools, and so I was able to buy Apple stock very inexpensively, and I held on to that, and that's been very good for me. Now I have a fair amount of Tesla stock.
What would be the worst investment that you ever made?
Many people are investing in Bitcoin, and of course I invested high and now it's down low, so I'm out of crypto completely.
What would be the most expensive thing that you currently own?
Probably my home. I own it outright. It's in San Clemente, so it's worth almost $2 million.
How did you get to that point where you were able to pay off the home?
I started a company, so I decided that the hardest thing is to pay interest on a loan for 15 or 30 years. So I decided after I bought it to start a company building underwater technologies. And I wound up selling the company about 3 years later and completely paid off the home. And I did that for a second home too. So try to get the home paid off as fast as you can. Minimize your interest payments. If you can't afford it, don't let it pile up on your credit card. Pay it off as soon as possible.
Would you have any advice for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur or get into entrepreneurship?
You need a series of skills or qualified people to work with you. Trying to do everything as an entrepreneur is very difficult. I was a good engineer. I developed things, but development is only one part. So you want a team with a good business person and certainly a good person on social media and also somebody with IT. So forming a good team is essential to a successful entrepreneurial concept or project.
What is a daily habit that you think everyone should do?
Enjoy life to its fullest. People have to be happy. There's too many people that are in debt right now or worried about their jobs, and I take a lot of pity on them. But remember, it takes a lot of energy to be happy. And that energy starts when you actually enter grade school or high school. Going through college wasn't easy for me. And then, of course, the life in environmental work is it's always sometimes boring. So as long as you pursue and do your best, it's fortitude that counts.
What is something that you would tell your younger self?
You should be very thankful because you've had a pretty interesting and enjoyable life. So I guess I'd be happy to say that I've pretty much done it right. I followed what I would preach to young people. Good education, be happy, pursue your goals. That's it.
Do you have any tips for people who want to save more money?
To minimize your spending. Decrease your want level. It's so easy in this age of consumerism to want to buy everything that you really don't need. And so if you can curb that desire to own everything in the world that is probably not worth that much, you do pretty good on saving money and better off in the long run.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, so what is your name, age, and what do you currently do?
My name is Herb. I'm in my 60s and I teach physics at UC Irvine.
Have you done anything else in the past besides teaching?
Not really, not really. Just enjoying life and driving fast cars. I mean, I'm Italian, so I grew up with Alfa Romeos and Maserati, and my dad went through every Alfa Romeo that they ever made. I grew up in Milan, so Alfa Romeos were made right outside Milan.
What kind of car do you currently drive?
Well, I drive this one on the weekend, but during the week I drive an Audi S4. German cars are usually more reliable. I mean, you don't want to drive a Ferrari every day. It puts a lot of wear and tear in the car, and if you have a little issue, then it can be expensive.
Do you mind if I ask how much you make per year or what your current net worth is?
I make a good amount of money. I'm semi-retired. We don't have to take care of her anymore, and my son also has a good job, so I think that has made things a little bit easier in the last few years.
What would be one tip you could give to our audience who want to get to where you are right now?
Physics is a hard career. I don't recommend it to everybody. You have to be really into it. I mean, there's ways by which you can make a comfortable living without going through the agony of getting a PhD in physics and then struggling to get a job. And, we moved between one coast and another multiple times. So my advice is, save a little bit of money and someday you'll be able to get a fancy car if that's what you really want. I mean, it's not necessarily one of your priorities. I mean, you got to worry about your kids and, your house and house payments. But I'm semi-retired, so I can afford, to throw away a little bit of money on the side. Usually if you were to do that at a young age, it could be risky, especially the way the stock market has been going lately. It's a risky proposition.
So what would be one tip for people who want to save more money?
We've had the discussion for a long time with our children, especially our daughter, and our daughter is a black hole, is a complete money pit, because she does the things that don't allow you to save money in the long run, which is constantly eating out, which is unhealthy, and having everything delivered at home, whether it's Instacart or whether it's Amazon Fresh. So you would think that these are small items, but they add up. So the first thing you have to do is watch your budget, not wasting money on useless gadgets. How many Amazon gadgets are you really going to be able to put in your house? Young generations, I love gadgets as well, but you have to put priorities in order, decide what you're going to do. Life has to be enjoyed. You have to enjoy life. You have to travel, which is a great thing to do, and have a nice house and take care of your kids, and that takes some dedication.
What is the worst money mistake that you ever made?
Well, I haven't made many. I've always been conservative with my money. Some people, including myself, have put some money into stock market and stocks and so forth, and that has been very dicey over the last 6 months. So investing in risky propositions is something that you have to be very careful. I'm a mathematician by training. I do theoretical physics, so I'm pretty good at looking at data, and trying to extract trends out of it. And I'm very careful and conservative. If you're not, then you can throw away a lot of money on completely useless investments. So be very careful with Robinhood and meme stocks, because you might think you get that Lambo in a couple of months, but maybe you throw away your life savings. So
what would be one thing you would tell your younger self?
We've been pretty lucky because, we grew up in Italy. I got a fellowship. I came to the US and we ended up here, which is not so bad. I mean, I have neighbors that complain about Irvine and so forth, but, I tell them, well, go back east or live in Illinois, and you'll see that this is not a bad place to live. So I think we've been fortunate. A lot of it has been just sheer luck. Not everybody's lucky. Overall, we've been blessed. We're pretty happy.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're very welcome. Yeah.
That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those post notifications for future videos. As always, your life is a masterpiece. So let's unlock that full financial potential together. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.